Hi, I'm Chamois Anderson, Senior Representative with Defenders of Wildlife's Rockies and Plains program based in Laramie, Wyoming. I'm here today to talk to you about our endangered black-footed ferret recovery efforts. So the black-footed ferret is one of North America's most endangered animals. We only have about 350 remaining in the wild and about 250 in captivity. So there's zoos across the country that are rearing ferrets in captivity, and those animals are then used to supplement the populations in the wild, and that's all under a program that's administered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So black-footed ferrets, it's a member of the weasel family. They have a long body, yellowish-brown fur, black and tan on the backside, and then they all have like this typical mask, if you will, on their face. Their lifespan is about 4 years in the wild, about 10 years in captivity. They mate in the spring, and the females will have a litter of about 3 to 5 young. Black-footed ferrets are a carnivore. About 90% of their diet is the prairie dog, and they also utilize prairie dog burrows to raise their young. However, we've lost a lot of our prairie dog resource. Through eradication programs, lethal control, Slavic plague, and also the conversion of grasslands to croplands and rangelands, we've lost about 95% of our prairie dog resource. So conserving prairie dogs for ferret recovery is really key for our work. Here's a map of the 30 recovery sites across the plains to give you an idea. Typically, this is right in the historic range of our black-footed ferret, and as well as the black-tailed prairie dogs and white-tailed prairie dogs. This is one of the oldest recovery sites, 27 years running. The ferrets here at Shirley Basin have 150,000 acres of white-tailed prairie dogs, so that provides for a very healthy ferret population. And this is one of 30 sites across the plains, 11 states, where ferret recovery is occurring. Every fall, I partner with Wyoming Game and Fish to do their annual ferret survey. And because ferrets are nocturnal, we'll go out in our pickup trucks and we'll have a section of prairie where we drive around with big spotlights, scanning the prairie and looking for the sheen of their eyes. And it looks like an emerald color, and it really lights up. Once I see the green eyes of a ferret, then I'll hone in on that animal and see what prairie dog burrow it goes into. And then I'll pull my truck up, jump out, grab a trap, stick it right in that prairie dog burrow, and then take a GPS reading, and then come back an hour later and hopefully I have a ferret. And so what we do with the ferrets that we catch is we take them to sort of this makeshift lab on the prairie, and we'll give them anesthesia and we'll do their health checks, which is like taking their weight, sexing the animal, looking and see if it has a microchip, and if not, inserting one. And then slowly as the animal starts to wake up, I already have it in a kennel. I'm driving back in my truck to the same burrow that I trapped it in. And once the animal wakes up, I release it right back into that burrow. So it's very minimal husbandry. And the data goes into a master database for all 30 recovery sites. And so we're able to really track the population, how many kits are being recruited in the wild, and keeping that data ongoing and really seeing the trends is really important to our recovery efforts. So with our Fish and Wildlife Service recovery, there's sort of the federal umbrella for the recovery efforts. The goal is to have 3,000 breeding adults in at least 9 of the 12 states with the historic range. And that's all guided under a master plan, of which feeds into our state wildlife plans. And then Defenders of Wildlife and our partners follow those plans with our efforts and our allocation of our dollars and on-the-ground field work with those partnerships. Landowners are instrumental to this. In places like Wyoming, where half the state is private, it's really important to engage them in ferret recovery opportunities. So Defenders of Wildlife, we do habitat enhancement, plague management. We monitor and help with the survey efforts of ferrets every year with the partners. And it does take that kind of collaborative effort. And we work with the Humane Society of the United States, Prairie Wildlife Research, the Forest Service, as I mentioned, Fish and Wildlife Service, and the wildlife agencies. We also work with several tribes who are doing incredible work with ferret recovery. Fort Belknap Indian Reservation in Montana, Northern Crow, Cheyenne, they're all a part of the equation when it comes to the overall ferret recovery picture. Back to the Shirley Basin, the release of this, I caught 2 siblings this night, and this was the morning I was releasing the one back into the same prairie dog burrow. I caught him, and he turned around and looked at me And it was like he was saying, thank you for bringing me home. And it was just so rewarding. It's really, really amazing work. And we couldn't do it without Defenders of Wildlife and without you, our members, contributing to the cause and supporting the Endangered Species Act. That's a big part of our work. And getting engaged in prairie dog conservation programs in your neck of the woods, staying informed on your state wildlife agency non-game plans, and just everything you do contributes to what we do in the field on the ground. So thank you very much.